Welcome to Creative Vitality Jam Sessions. Here, we have intimate conversations with extraordinary dance and theater artists about reimagining creativity and supporting and building community. Creative Vitality Jam Sessions and I walk in solidarity and as allies for equality, justice, and respect, because Black lives matter. And we will keep walking the walk in order for change to come. And here's a new line: let's all remember to vote. I'm Helen Pickett, and today's guest is Araminta Wraith. She is a soloist with the Scottish Ballet.
Nice to be here.
So, as I start with everybody, where are you in the world?
I am now back in Glasgow after having probably the longest stint at my parents' house since I was before boarding school, about 11 years old.
Wow, and where are they?
Just outside of London. So I obviously, when all this started happening, I was like, I don't have a garden here. The weather's better down south. So I was like, Mum. So
well, they probably enjoyed it, seeing their kid for a long stretch of time.
Yeah. And the houses kind of bubbled. So I was helping my niece do homeschooling, although I think she's cleverer than I am.
Well, actually, okay, I'm getting to that actually, because you have many branches, which again, which I love so much. Every guest I've talked to, and it's mostly dancers. I did interview James, so that was really fun, as you can imagine. As he said, he didn't even curse once.
I love that.
Gracie and I did count one. So anyhow, but yeah. So you have many interests, and that's something I really think is important about all these interviews. If younger people are watching, or people who are non-dancers, I love that they see that dancers have so many interests. We are so intelligent. We really, I think, because of our profession, we know how to dig into other things as well. You know, we're curious people. So I'm going to start with you. So from our work together, I know you're interested in film and character development. You like the juicy characters, like Elizabeth Proctor.
Yeah.
You worked with both James Bonus and I on character development. How did that work? Now, I'm speaking about specifically like from the coaching side and a bit of the acting side from me, but really the acting side from James. How did that work influence you as an artist? And did it shift how you approach and research a character?
Yeah, I really loved this experience of working with both a choreographer and a dramaturg. I had experienced a similar scenario once before at Scottish Ballet. We did a production of A Streetcar Named Desire, and I played Blanche, and that was my first ever experience of that kind of dual way of working, which was amazing. And I mean, I had just left my previous company, and it was like, wow, this is what I get to do here. This is awesome. So I had experienced it to some level doing that. But what was different about this was that, and it was great, I was then grateful that I had done that previously, was that because it was a new production, it was so much more collaborative. Yeah. Like in this world, you know, it's quite rigid. We find out what ballet we're getting. You get the steps. It's been done 100 times before. It's how you're going to interpret it to some degree. Whereas with this, it was the first time I experienced like having an input, like working with James, that just wanted to know from me, and you, like from what is my perspective of everything all the time, which definitely, I mean, catapulted me as an artist, I feel like, because it's just having that like, well, this is what's happening with Elizabeth Proctor, but what would you do if you were in that scenario? And I really liked that all the time. I think it just makes everything just so much more real. Yeah, I found it just a huge challenge, but also it just helps with the development of the character the whole time.
Yeah, and what you said actually is kind of the crux. I mean, it is, if we're going to put a label on it, is much more method. You cannot imagine what it was like in the 1600s because you did not experience that, but you can imagine what betrayal is. These things that every human being in a certain point in their life, they have experienced, and to remember always that it's only ever you, the human being, that's going to make a character come alive.
Yeah.
And you accessed this so incredibly. I mean, I really, because I had seen you in the company, of course, right? But there were injuries and everything. But to work with you on this, I really like your anchor was to take her in, Elizabeth, and process out. And I tell you, it was quite remarkable. That first scene, every time you did that scene where you discovered John, every time I got chills. And I'm talking about the studio. And that means that if you're hitting me, someone who knew this inside out, because, how much had I been with it? I knew you'd hit someone that was watching for the first time or the second or third. So that was quite remarkable, I found.
Yeah, it's funny because you read about method acting and the Daniel Day-Lewis's of the world, and you always think, are they indulging a bit? But when you do it yourself, like, no, like you have to literally live it. If you want to project that story, you can't just pretend. Otherwise, it's like there's cling film over you. Like, you have to literally breathe the character. And like you said, I was not around in the 1600s, so how can I reference what she's going through with my own life experiences and then put that into it? It's the only way. Otherwise, it's just a bit superficial, a bit manufactured.
Yeah, and I think what dance affords, and let's say dance for stage, because now I'm like rediscovering, I'm going back to film, which, I studied film acting for 2 years in New York because I was going down a similar route like you wanted to when I retired from dance. And so, I did the whole thing. I studied film. It was really fun. But what I found with what I love about narrative dance, and if I had my druthers, I'd live there. I'd only do full lengths. I love them. But what dance offers is that the character can go right through the end of it can become so physical. The character that you get can just come alive in every, end of their finger, or, like more of us can speak as dancers, which I find quite, I don't know, I don't want to always use the word extraordinary, but it is. It's such a sensory thing. Did you find that it was more, that it's very sensory as well?
Completely. And it's why the Crucible worked, because there was not one single step, even if it was like a walk, that didn't have a meaning, a purpose. The three of us, we worked so hard on Elizabeth, and you did with all of the characters, and we all worked. That's what was such a great thing, right? We all worked so collaboratively as a team. But that's why, like, all of those movements that we created together, like, they still told the story. Like, I know you love the hands, and it's so true, because that is what differs slightly with just straight acting, is that you really can go there with your body. And that's what works with these kind of new ways of doing full lengths with dance. And the theatrical side of it means it's like a total sensory overload, isn't it?
It is, but I have to tell you, I know you really, I know you're interested in acting, but look at the great stage actors, and I'm talking about English, English actors, British actors that have really learned their craft for the stage. And you look at some of these consummate stage actors in Britain, and they have that electricness throughout their body as well.
Yes.
It's just more contained. But in great stage actors, you can feel it. And that's why I think this translation for you could be feasible. You have felt it in your body. you know, and then it would translate to words. Your words would be your choreography.
Yeah.
No,
it's fascinating. No, it is fascinating. I've been doing some acting in the lockdown over Zoom.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I've been loving it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I put my money where my mouth is. I was like, come on, you chat about it enough.
Exactly. And what a better time to do it, right? There's time, right? So kind of along these lines, are there roles in literature that you would like to play? Have you thought about that either as a dancer or an actress? And if so, what draws you to such characters?
Yeah, I guess it will come of no surprise to you that I like playing kind of badass woman, and I like strong women. I mean, I feel like it's a bit of an overused phrase, not this like strong female thing, but I just think it's so important to tell those women's stories, and it's what I enjoy. Like when I started exploring the acting in the lockdown, I was like, how do I want to go about this? And I started working on a scene from Winter's Tale, the character of Hermione. And I just did one scene, and I was like, in fact, no, it wasn't one scene. It was one part of one scene. And just from doing that bit, I was like, I would just love to now do the whole thing. Yeah. Because there's so much to her. She's amazing. And just to exploring that one little bit and how complex she is. And she's just so amazing. Yeah. I would love to explore that character as a whole now in its entirety.
I mean, Shakespeare really did a service for female roles. He really wrote wonderful female roles. And how long ago was that? But I mean, such strong characters, I find. So many varied characters for women as well, even if, and this was the time, even if, you know, the woman was behind, let's say, a male king, sometimes those plays, the woman was a stronger character and built in a much more complex way than the lead. You know, it's like Romeo and Juliet. Mercutio's the role.
Actually, that's
right?
The other thing I was going to say, I was like, wouldn't it be amazing as a woman to play Mercutio?
Oh, amazing. And why not?
It's been done.
Yeah, of course. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, what a great role for any gender, right? Of course a woman could play it. Yeah, and villains are really fun to play.
Yes. Oh my God. I would love to play the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, just because it's just a villain and it's so fun. But also villains are so great because they're so complex.
Exactly.
Like, no one's a villain for no reason.
Exactly. You know, there's this villain in the remake of Cape Fear so De Niro did Robert Mitchum's part. And, you know, the thing about that role, he's a despicable, I mean, he's a horrible character, the role, you know, this role that De Niro and Mitchum played. But both of those actors are so consummate that they, in a strange way, you didn't like them, but you were drawn to them. That's a great villain.
Yeah.
You know, if you're drawn to a truly scary character, you know that person in real life, you know, you wouldn't want to come in contact. But when you're drawn to someone like that, you know that actor has a lot of complexity going on, because I mean, yeah.
It's like when you play those killer sociopaths, like sociopaths have such charming traits, like.
Exactly.
That's what makes them it's why they are always such central figures in shows and films, because there's so many layers.
Yeah, and it's chilling. Yeah. So Minty, I'm calling you by your nickname. Is that fine?
Of course it is.
Okay. Yeah. So you started dancing with the English National Ballet while in school. Well, also you also studied at the Royal Ballet, right?
Yeah, I trained at Royal Ballet Lower School, and then I moved to English National Ballet School, and it was there that I then graduated into their company.
Right. So, but you were dancing, correct me if I'm wrong, you were also dancing with the English National Company while still in school, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like doing some of the core work, right?
Yeah. I thought I was just going to be standing there in a court lady dress, but no.
Yeah, you know, I had a similar experience with San Francisco Ballet as a student. I also, while in the school, actually, here's something funny, a little connection to England. My first role, besides Nutcracker, with the company, I was 15 and I played one of the chickens in Fima Galde. And, you know, as a 15-year-old, you know, teenager, like, you know, I want to be in the pretty fairy costume. I do not want to be dressed up as this chicken, but it was actually a great role. It's a really fun role.
It is fun.
But that was my introduction, besides Nutcracker, with San Francisco Ballet. But I found it very beneficial as far as learning the foundational skills of company life. I felt like it was, you know, it was that early, felt like it was an early step into what could be. How did that part of your development influence your career? So that early nudge into the company also as a student.
I mean, you literally cannot put a price on that time. Like you know, because you did it too. Like, never been so terrified in my life for a start. But the girls were so nice. It's like you get given this unwritten rule book that you didn't even know exists. You don't know it in school. Like they can try and tell you about it, and you know your teachers will tell you about it, but until you really live it yourself, it's that learning how to train your brain to work in a totally different way. Like when I first, I remember going in there and they were doing this production of Alice in Wonderland, and they were doing this cards number, and it was just every single girl did something different. You ran off into the wings, they came back on us, and I had this like super old DVD with like a blurry thing. They handed it to me. They were like, "We need you to go in for Kerry tomorrow." I'm like, "Who's Kerry?" Like, just now a good friend of mine, but like, and you're just like sweating, and then it's all the girls. They help you and they teach you how to be quick. Like, don't try and learn all the steps and the patterns all at once. Like, get the patterns and then the steps will come. You can always like side eye. Like, how do you stay in line? How do you work as a team? Like, that's where you start learning all those transferable skills, because all the stuff you do in the core, you do in the principal roles as well. Like,
that's right.
Yeah.
I had a similar thing with a few women in the San Francisco Ballet. As far as like kindness, the company women, same experience. There was such kindness from, I remember a few specifically, and I'm actually still friends. Well, with two I can name off the bat, but that's quite extraordinary, you know, that you, God, this word, I can't get it out of my head now.
Fine, I say amazing all the time. So.
Yeah. As Sarah Hilmer, you met her, right? When she came for the month?
Oh, very briefly, yeah.
Yeah, she took amaze balls from you guys. She loves that. So that's what she says all the time. But it is that kindness in, I think, also when we receive that, right? Because then we know we carry that forward, right? Because again, coming from the top down, what goes around comes around. If someone's been good to us when we were in formative years, we know it's possible and it doesn't take anything away. Right. Yeah. The generosity keeps moving forward.
Yeah. That helpfulness is, and I always try now, even like when you see the students coming in now, like, you know, always try and make them feel welcome, because obviously there's also this slightly scary people. Like, I never wanted to be that person. Like, exactly. Try not to be.
Exactly. Yeah. So this perfect segue. So you earned your teaching certification from the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. But did I recall that you also started something like this already at the English National? Am I confusing something?
I didn't do too much teaching at ENB. Yeah, I started the DEG, they call it the DEG course in up here in Scotland. Oh. I taught like workshops and taught at summer school when I was still down there. But I'd never really been like, actually, I'm going to commit to try and learn how to do this better. And they do offer such a great course with the Conservatoire here. I'm kind of still in the process of, there's some other, you know, you can keep going and do different modules. But obviously because of the COVID, that's kind of on a pause at the moment. like everything.
But do you think this could be a direction you want to go in as an educator?
I'm definitely in a part of my life where I am exploring a lot of different things. I'm keeping my options broad.
Good.
Because, yeah, I'm still discovering, you know, we did one job for so long and now I'm like, okay, look, dipping, because you've got to try stuff, like, to know you don't want to do it as well.
Right.
I do love the idea of passing on to the next generation. Just accumulate so much knowledge. Like, you know, what did they say? They say it takes 12 years to become a master or something. And how long have we all been doing dance? Well surpassed that.
I know. Yeah,
so
I totally
like the idea of passing it on.
Yeah. No, I agree. You know, but I mean, it's funny. Some people really can let it go. I tried. Like, I really went for the acting thing when I moved to New York. But, you know, at about the 5-year mark, I thought, I asked myself, am I happy? And I wasn't. And also, I didn't need the stage anymore. That was a really big, like, mind-blowing moment. Because I always loved the stage, you know. I realized I didn't need it anymore. But yeah, you know, it's so important, like you said, to dip your toes into these things, to find out what you do want to do and what you don't want to do. It's absolutely, yeah, it's so valid. So Minty, I read that you were an ambassador for the charity Dancers Career Development, and it is the only organization of its kind in the UK which helps support dancers as they retire from dance. What motivated you to become part of this vital organization?
We can call it DCD for short, so we
Okay.
do so that it helps. But I am so passionate about this organization. The charity and the people that work for it are just so passionate about helping dancers transition. Yeah, they really are remarkable, and they, you know, as we were just talking about, like, you don't always know when you stop dancing what it is you want to do next. And some people it's very obvious, it's very clear to them, and some people it's not. But either way, they will basically help you with that transition. Whether it's, you know, if I wanted to be a Pilates teacher, they have a whole network of ex-dancers who also made that jump. So they will help you by putting in touch with them. Or if you don't know, they have all kinds of grants. They have this thing called an exploration grant where they can give you a certain amount of money to, like we said earlier, like dip your toe in. Is that what you want? Oh no, it's not. Okay, well then, you know, as dancers, we don't always have the luxury of the funds to do that. And their biggest and most amazing thing is they have a retraining grant, because they know that this life, it does come to an end. And then you may need to, you know, whether it's your teaching qualification, or like one of my friends became a photographer and they helped provide her with all her photography equipment, which is, you know, so much money. Like, they get it. They understand that you walk away with all these transferable skills, and you might not know what to do with them, and they will help you if you are confused. Oh no, I think it's frozen again. Oh no, it hasn't. They will help you make that jump without it being so daunting as it may seem initially.
That is an incredible institution, because you're right. We have to end so soon, really, and we have to begin again from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It is daunting. So, what besides dipping your toes into the winter tale scene, what else have you been doing?
What else to do? I read another play called For Once by a guy called Tim Price.
Okay.
And it's completely different, actually. I was like, I do a lot of I love the dramatic women, but I was like, I really do a lot of comedy. I was like, my friends tell me I'm funny sometimes. Anyway, I read this play, and it's basically like these 3 monologues that all cross over. That is about a family trying to get over a tragedy where the son is in a car accident with his 3 best friends. He's 17 and they all die and he survives. And it's about how the family work through such a tragedy. So it's like a dark comedy. And the mum, April, is this, you know, she's a fixer and she's trying to put the family back together when clearly nothing's not ready. And so I was looking at that a bit, which was really good fun. Nice to do something, I say lighter with such a dark context, but it is light. That was real good fun. Yeah.
And you are starting back now, right? Slowly with Scottish Ballet.
Yes, so everyone's gone back in the studio. I'm still trying to negotiate, you know, never a dull moment with my body. I'm still negotiating a dodgy hip, which, yeah, hasn't been the funnest. So the lockdown and taking a bit of time off was good to rest out a bit. So I'm just kind of working my way through that. Yeah, the company, everyone's back. We're all back. That's why I'm here. So yeah.
So lucky, and I love that film light behind you. That's like, you know, an omen.
I just love the theatre. I can't get enough. I miss the theatre.
The theater's an amazing place. It's an amazing place. And even though I don't need the stage anymore, one of my favorite things to do is stand on a stage either before everything starts or at the end.
Yeah.
When it's empty and you can smell, and it feels vast, but there is an end. But you know that space as a dancer so well, I find, or as a performer, you know, I've been in so many stages in my life, but in the end, they all feel like home in this very only stage way. Like I said, with the smell and the creak of the floorboards, the feel of the Marley, the look into the wings and how they can feel so far away at times and then too close. And it's really an extraordinary place. We're really lucky.
It really is. I've been doing some research with quite a cool bunch of women, and we're all from different. So I'm the dancer, and one girl's an actress, this physical theatre girl, all set up by this really cool lady. And we've all been talking about exactly this, like with the lockdown and with there being no theatre, and we're all, you know, you go online, you see all the content that everyone's producing, and or whether it's prior shows being streamed, and if we couldn't get back in the theatre, what did that mean? What can we do? And it was interesting just speaking to so many different artists and talking about the theatre and what it means to them. Exactly the same things. It's funny. Yeah. They're amazing women.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Can you share a favorite or impactful memory from your creative life?
I was thinking about this and I was like, this is going to sound so biased in this interview, but I'm going to say it anyway. But it really is when we closed the opening night of the Festival of the Crucible. I was like, I really don't want this to sound like I'm saying it just because of this, because it's not. The whole thing was such a special process. I really felt like blood, sweat and tears from everyone. I mean, it always is like that, but I just felt like this was so special, and we worked so hard for so long. And then when we got to that opening night, it was like actual pure magic. Like, and it's weird, like I normally get so nervous before shows, and I was nervous, but yeah, that moment when you really are in a true flow on stage. And then when the curtain came down and you guys came on, and I was just like, that is a night I will never ever forget.
You know, Minty, me either. I have to say, also the journey with Scottish Ballet and Christopher Hansen and Matt, everybody, the marketing, there was so much trust. You know, I mean, that set, I mean, I don't know how much you caught and how massive, what a massive undertaking that set was. It was, besides it being 1 ton, it was a massive undertaking to get the thing to work. All the people that had to be there, all the trust from Chris and saying, okay, and you know, and the executive team and saying, okay, this is it's not cheap, but we're moving forward with it. It's a process I'll never forget. Also, knowing the company, I tell you, as a choreographer, to step into a company where you know people, and like you said, we had a really nice journey with this because we had those, which never happens, right? We had like the soft opening that the West End gets with the three shows, which you didn't do, but still you were there and a part of, right?
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'll never forget that opening night or the process or the people. I remember Nick just broke down in tears. Remember, he was sobbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think his parents came. I mean, it was.
Yeah,
anyhow.
they hadn't seen him dance for like years. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Magic.
Okay, do you have a daily inspiration about, you know, that you can share about living a creative life, or something that you do as a daily thing to reinforce or get yourself there? Or...
Yeah, I mean, as someone that's definitely had their fair share of hiccups, I definitely learned how to be calm through mindfulness. I know that sounds really obvious, but to me, those daily meditations, they keep me on the straight and narrow. Because I'm quite a social person, I love being around people all of the time. Like, I get kind of bored quite quickly if I don't. I have to learn how to slow down. Like, so for me, that 10 minutes that I put into that, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 40, sometimes I have one that's like 90 seconds long. Like, just that moment to make me sit down, chill out, zone out, that is something that gets me through each day.
I hear it more and more from people when I ask that. It's great. It's great that people are coming to that. Okay, the last question, it's a biggie, but it's one I ask everybody. In supporting and building a more equitable community, let's say the dance community, because there's a lot to be done everywhere, what do you believe needs to be shifted or changed?
That is a very big question, but one that I'm glad is being asked. It's been pretty amazing, actually. I think when I sit back in this time and look at what can only be described as an uprising on social media, it's like suddenly everyone went from, you know, pictures of making bread to talking about such an incredibly serious subject matter. Yeah. And it does need to be talked about, and not just with your like-minded friends. I've also had to check my own white privilege, educate myself as well. And I think what's so amazing is that everything is being talked about now, and we are talking the talk. And I think the next step is to actually walk the walk. Like, actually, it has to happen. These conversations are amazing, and everything everyone's posting is amazing. But this is not a new subject. This has been going on for a very long time, and now it actually has to happen. Employ those people, make it diverse. As someone, like, I'm a Londoner, like, I've walked very diverse streets, and the diversity we see on the streets is what needs to be seen on the stage.
Exactly. And behind the stage,
just like
the institutions themselves,
the offices, the market, everyone. Like, we can't just paint with one brush. It's not real life.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Minty, it's been a really beautiful conversation. So just to get to know you more, and to get to see who you are and hear about you and all the avenues you're going down, really, really inspiring. If you wouldn't mind staying with me as I finish up the show.
Cool.
I want people to be able to find out more about you? So besides the short bio that's in the description page that will accompany this session on our YouTube channel, Creative Vitality Jam Sessions. We'll be uploading that in a couple of hours, so you'll be able to see it later today. Do you have a tag on Instagram? Do you have a website? Besides people being able to go to the Scottish Ballet website and reading about you and your roles, what can you give us another place for us to find you?
I should really set up my own website. I don't have one of those yet. I should get on that. Otherwise, yes, I am on Instagram as at Araminta Wraith, just my whole name. And yeah, I guess the Scottish Ballet website. I write a blog for Dance Tabs sometimes.
That's fine. Please mention that.
It's been a while since I've done one. I need to do another one.
But I didn't bring that up, and that's something really important. Can you just speak a little bit about your blogging for Dance Tabs?
Yeah, I do sometimes write a blog for Dance Tabs that Reese Marriott asked me to do. And we try and write about the realities of the industry and the real life, a bit like what you're talking about with everyone on these shows. So yeah, I try to keep it real, because you know, it's not just fluff and fairies and tiaras. We have very interesting lives as dancers.
Yeah, complex lives. So would people be able to go to Dance Tabs and put your name in and find those blogs?
Yes, I think if you go on the website and type my name, I think you should find them, yeah.
Okay, great. So that's Dance Tabs, Araminta Wraith.
Yeah.
That's great, because I've read those. I've read some, and they're really, really good. You're a good writer.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, they are. They're very good. So, great. And we do 2 of these sessions every week, Tuesday and Sunday, 2 new shows. On our next session, we'll have 2 dancers that I have, again, they're friends of mine. I've worked with them several times. Kiara Felder from Les Grands Ballets Canadiens, and Alessa Rogers from the Royal Swedish Ballet. I worked with them both in Atlanta Ballet. So they'll be on because they also just did Home Studies Part 2 with me. So we'll be talking about that and several other things with them. And I've already mentioned the YouTube channel, so you'll see this session later today. And I want to make my thanks now. So first of all, thank you to you. It's been a beautiful conversation. Thank you, Gracie Spina. You know I'm talking to you right now. I know you're smiling. So she's an amazing young woman, an intern, co-producer of the show. I want to thank, as I do every session, my amazing dance community. I couldn't imagine any other community I'd want to be a part of. I owe you so much, and you sustain so much amazing energy in this world. So keep reimagining creativity. I hope to see you soon, and I'll see you next time. Bye.